Now, for this, I think important to note here that depending on the domicile, legal domicile or legal residence of the entrepreneur, the business, it's important to seek guidance from local legal counsel. You're not going to avoid that. So it's important that you're able to find local legal representatives. What's happening with some of the businesses, a lot of the businesses that are raising capital on the continent in Africa, they are domiciled in jurisdictions that make it easier or friendlier for investors that are coming into the businesses, especially those that are domiciled outside the continent, because that's where most of the capital comes from. So for businesses, you'll find them raising, and they have Mauritius holding companies where the IP is held, or they have Delaware holding companies where the IP is held, or British Virgin Islands. But sometimes you'll find the companies are registered locally. So you'd have to look at the documents that have set up the company. So your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, and where decisions have been made and need to be sanctioned by the board. You want to look at all resolutions by the board of directors, and then documents that are vouching for ownership in the business. For example, the shareholders agreement or stockholders agreement, stock options agreement, stock purchase agreements, where you're going to be offering employee stock options. You want to see the way these are worded, and then agreements with any providers of debt to the business. And then you want to make sure the business has been complying with local tax returns. And usually, I know in some jurisdictions, you should be able to get tax clearance certificates. And that's usually proof before you do a transaction that there is no lingering tax. Otherwise, you end up in a situation where you buy into a business, you own equity, and then you're saddled with liabilities that you were not aware of because you did not do your diligence on, say, the tax returns. Now, that is related to the business, setting up the business, the capital of the business, them complying. However, in as far as the business is concerned, how they engage with the market, you want to just make sure that you're reviewing customer contracts, you're looking at the different vendors and suppliers, you're looking at employment agreements, because some of these are then a source of litigation or can be opportunities where the business may be able to extract efficiencies, or some deals maybe with customers or vendors that have not been negotiated very well that you could add value from. You then need to look at NDAs. How long do they lock up people for in terms of non-disclosure, non-circumvention, and then any agreements they have with partners, because sometimes you sign agreements with partners to go to market, but the terms of these agreements may be onerous in terms of maybe revenue share, or in terms of how you may use partner resources and how the partner may use your resources. For example, we have businesses that are getting into big agreements with, say, Google or Visa or MasterCard, or and this say in the fintech space, or with local manufacturers association with regards to marketing to their members. So you just want to scrutinize these agreements and just if you can, just make sure that there's no clauses in there that affect the business negatively. The same applies to associated software licenses. Now, of course, you do this with local legal, or you do this with, I guess, within the angel syndicate, if you have people who are lawyers, or you then have to look at the agreements themselves. But you just need to be checking. For some of these, might be that there are certain key ones that are material, and you look at them, or you may ask for warranty statements in the term sheet or the investment agreement you're signing to cover certain things. But it's always prudent to just have that legal review.